Hello and welcome to my video on a fascinating topic. Today, we will be exploring the four waves of feminism and taking a deep dive into its various aspects. Whether you are a seasoned expert or new to the subject, I hope this video will provide a valuable insights and thought-provoking ideas. So sit back, relax, and join me as we embark on this exciting journey together. Feminism is a social and political movement that advocates for the rights and equality of all genders, but particularly focuses on issues affecting women. Feminist activism can take many forms, such as advocating for policy changes, organizing protests and rallies, engaging in online activism and awareness campaigns, and promoting feminist perspectives in media and cultural spaces. The ultimate goal of feminism is to create a society where all individuals, regardless of gender, are treated equally and have access to the same opportunities and rights. The first wave of feminism emerged in the late 19th and early 20th century, primarily in Europe and United States. This wave was focused on achieving legal rights for women, especially the right to vote. The suffragette movement was a key aspect of this wave, and women like Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Emmeline Pankhurst became leading figures. The first wave of feminism was characterized by its emphasis on liberal feminism, which focused on achieving legal equality with men. The Suffragette, a British newspaper founded in 1912 by Emmeline Pankhurst and her daughters, which became the official newspapers of Women's Social and Political Union, a militant suffragette organization. The newspaper was filled with cartoon, images, and articles advocating for women's suffrage and criticizing the government and the establishment for their opposition to women's rights. Many of these cartoons and images perpetuated gender stereotypes, portraying women as emotional, irrational, and physically weak. For example, one cartoon published, The Suffragette, depicted a man lifting a woman by waist and carrying her to the polling station, with the caption, "Just going to put her in the right place, sir." This caricature reinforced the notion that women were too weak and emotional to make rational decisions and participate in politics. However, despite the perpetuation of stereotypes, the suffrage movement effectively used media to spread their message and mobilize supporters. They employed creative and attention-grabbing tactics such as organizing protests, hunger strikes, and public demonstration to draw attention to their cause. The media coverage of these events helped to raise awareness about women's rights and the need for gender equality. The second wave of feminism emerged in the 1960s and 1970s in response to a range of issues affecting women, such as reproductive rights, workplace discrimination, and domestic violence. The second wave was more diverse than the first, and it included women of color, lesbians, and working class of women. Key figures of this wave include Betty Friedan, Gloria Steinem, and Audre Lorde. The second wave of feminism introduced the idea of radical feminism, which argues that patriarchy is the root cause of gender inequality. During this time, media representation of gender began to shift. TV shows like The Mary Tyler Moore Show and The Golden Girls portrayed women as independent, career-oriented, and sexually liberated. This show challenged traditional gender roles and presented women as complex, multi-faced individuals rather than one-dimensional stereotypes. Women's magazines such as Miss Magazine also played a significant role in the second wave feminism. Miss Magazine, founded was 1917 by the feminist activist Gloria Steinem, and it proved a platform of feminist ideas and perspective. The magazine tackled a range of issues affecting women, including reproductive rights, sexual harassment, and workplace discrimination. It also featured articles on women's history, culture, and achievement. Miss Magazine and other feminist publications provided a space for women to share their experiences and ideas, and to challenge traditional gender roles and expectations. They helped to raise awareness about women's issues and promote gender equality. This magazine also provided a platform for feminist writers and artists, helping to increase the visibility of women in the media and the arts. The third wave of feminism emerged in the 1990s and was characterized by its focus on intersectionality. Intersectionality is the idea that different forms of oppression intersect and overlap, and it is essential to address them all. This wave of feminism was critical of mainstream feminist movement, which was seen as too focused on the experiences of white middle-class women. The third wave was also marked by its emphasis on cultural feminism, which emphasizes the importance of women's culture and experiences. This wave of feminism aimed to challenge traditional gender roles and promote inclusivity for marginalized groups such as people of color, LGBTQ individuals, and people with disabilities. During this time, media continued to perpetuate gender stereotypes through advertising and other forms of content. Many ads portrayed women as passive objects of male desire, perpetuating harmful beauty standards and promoting unrealistic body expectations. These stereotypes were particularly harmful for women who did not conform to traditional gender roles or beauty standards. However, there were also shifts in media representation during this time, with more diverse and intersectional portrayals of gender and sexuality emerging in popular culture. For example, TV shows like The L Word and Queer as Folk explored LGBTQ themes and characters, challenging dominant culture narratives about gender and sexuality. Similarly, movies like Boys Don't Cry and Trans America explored trans identity and representation. The rise of the internet and social media provided a platform for feminist activism and allowed women to connect and share their experiences. Feminist bloggers and influencers used social media to promote body positivity, challenge beauty standards, and advocate for gender equality. Social media also facilitated the organization of grassroots feminist movements such as Women March and #MeToo, which brought attention to issues such as sexual harassment and assault. In short, third wave feminism focused on issues such as body positivity, gender identity, and diversity. While media continued to perpetuate harmful gender stereotypes, there were also shifts in representation towards more diverse and intersectional portrayals of gender sexuality. The fourth wave feminism emerged in the 2010s and is characterized by its use of social media and technology to organize and spread feminist ideas. This wave of feminism has a strong focus on issues facing women in Global South and the impact of globalization on gender inequality. It also addresses issues such as online harassment, reproductive rights, and sexual assault. The fourth wave feminism emphasizes the need for a more inclusive and intersectional feminist movement that recognizes the diversity of experiences and identities. In media, there have been significant strides towards greater inclusivity and diversity during this time. TV shows and movies have featured more diverse and inclusive representation of women, such as the hit TV series Orange is the New Black, which features a predominantly female cast, including women of color and LGBTQ individuals. Similarly, movies like Black Panther and Wonder Woman have featured a strong female characters and diverse representation of women in position of power. Representation of gender in media during the fourth wave has become more inclusive and diverse than ever. This is partly due to the efforts of feminist activists and organizations that have pushed for greater representation and visibility of the underrepresented groups in media. Social media has played a significant role in this, as it has allowed marginalized groups to share their stories and demand greater representation. Despite this advancement, there is still much work to be done to address issues of gender inequality and representation in media. Women, particularly women of color and trans women, continue to face significant barriers to representation and opportunities in media. Stereotypical and harmful representation of women still persist, particularly in advertising and other forms of media. Additionally, the lack of diversity in the entertainment industry, particularly among executives and decision makers, continues to limit the types of stories that are told and the ways in which they are told. To sum it up, the first wave focused on women's suffrage and legal and social status, while the second wave addressed issues such as reproductive rights and sexual liberation and workplace discrimination. The third wave focused on body positivity, gender identity, and diversity, while the fourth wave focused on online harassment, #MeToo movement, and the reproductive justice, as well as the need for greater inclusivity and representation of marginalized groups. Despite this advancement, issues of gender inequality and representation in media and society persist. Stereotypical and harmful representation of women still exists in media, and there is a lack of diversity in the entertainment industry, particularly among decision makers. Therefore, feminist activism and advocacy are still crucial in addressing these issues and pushing for greater progress and change towards a more equitable and inclusive society.